As y'all come in, whether you're watching this on replay, you might be watching this on Facebook. So on Facebook, these lives live forever. So whenever you're watching this, you can leave a comment with your feedback on the material. Tag somebody you know who needs to hear this message, because I'm sure you know somebody who needs to hear this message. Share this right now so that somebody you know can get this message, whether you tag them, whether you just share it. So whoever it is that needs to hear it, whoever wants to take their own initiative to hear it, make sure they know about it. Instagram, if you're watching this on Instagram right now, tell me your name and location in the comment section. We're getting started in 30 seconds. I'm gonna start taking less time for people to come in. We're just gonna get into the message, and whoever catches it. And if you gotta come in late and catch up, then you gotta come in late and catch up. So as y'all coming in, tell me your name and location in the comment section. We're getting started in 15 seconds. I'm gonna introduce myself in a moment, then we get right into the material. Oh, you like the snapback? I like it too. The snapback is hot. Shout out to the snapback manufacturer out there. All right, 15 seconds. We're getting started in a minute. Hope everybody's having a great Saturday. I don't even know what day it is. May the 16th. I know it's Saturday. May the 16th. Shout out to everybody who is getting ready to go back to opening your business. Maybe you get to go back to work next week in the United States and other different places. We got Joey from Atherton, California. You get the shout out as the first one to do it. Let's get into it. My name is Dre Baldwin, also known as Dre All Day, former 9-year professional athlete, author of 26 books, creator. I've done 4 TED Talks. Chris from Charlotte was good. I've done 4 TED Talks. I'm an Uber publisher of content, also a keynote speaker, coach, consultant, product creator, and entrepreneur, owner of Work on Your Game Incorporated. I publish over 15,000 pieces of content. That's between 7,000 YouTube videos, 7,000 articles, 1,500 podcast episodes, all under the umbrella of this philosophy that is called Work on Your Game. The book itself is not a philosophy, but I put the philosophy in a book that is all about taking a pro athlete mindset and teaching how you apply that mindset to your business, your sport, and your life. Lauren, hello. How you apply that mindset to your business, your sport, and your life. You don't have to be an athlete. You don't have to be an entrepreneur, but this whole framework is based around 4 specific principles of discipline, confidence, mental toughness, and personal initiative. The same elements you need to be successful in sports, you need these to be successful in business. You need these to be successful in having a job, in getting a job, and building a family, and building relationships, and just being a quality person, period. So everything that I talk about here is under the umbrella, if you will, of this philosophy called Work on Your Game. And today's topic, as you can see, is how to get your name out there. What if you feel like you're really good at what you do, but not enough people know about you? You don't feel like you're getting the recognition that you want. You feel like you're not getting the exposure that you feel belongs to you. I'm going to give you some principles, some things that you can apply anywhere in life, and anything you're doing at any point when you feel like your name is not out there enough. What are some things you can do to get out there? Because coming from a sports background, as I did, I would get a lot of athletes asking me about how to get exposure, especially because once athletes learned my story as an athlete, is that I wasn't a blue chip athlete who always had things working for me. I barely made my high school team, and I walked on in college, and I didn't have any real prospects to play pro until I started creating my own prospects, which is what I'm going to talk about here today. So any athlete who heard my story, even to this day, I get athletes who don't even play basketball who will ask me stuff like when it comes to like football. I've had some baseball players, soccer players, volleyball players, even a couple hockey players asking me like what are some of the principles that I used in basketball that they could apply in what they're doing so they can get themselves seen. So I would get these athletes asking this because I've found, and actually if you really think about it, the majority of athletes who are trying to play are not the blue chip athletes. The reason that a blue chip athlete is a blue chip athlete is because there are so few of them. That's what makes them so interesting to the casual observer, because they don't come around that often. So for everyone that doesn't have to work to get seen, because they're getting seen just based off their performance and their talent or their promise, there are 100 who believe they have some potential and some talent and some promise, but they haven't quite shown it just yet. And they feel like they're kind of underrated. They feel like they've been overlooked. They understand there's some work that they need to do, but they believe they have the capability to get there. Those athletes end up coming to me, again, because I have the sports background. But again, as I told you, I took this whole philosophy and I teach it to entrepreneurs, I teach it to business professionals, I do keynote speeches at companies and at conferences simply because I know how to translate what I learned in sports to the business world, which is why I'm an entrepreneur to this day. With all that being said, this is a very good question of how to get your name out there, because especially nowadays, which it wasn't like this even 10 years ago, Nowadays, everybody has a device from which you can broadcast yourself all day, every day, to potentially the entire world. I mean, there's a lot of people on Instagram, there's a lot of people on Facebook or YouTube or Netflix, or a lot of people got email. There's a huge audience of people who you could get yourself exposed to, and everybody has the equal capability as long as you got a smartphone and a data plan. So how exactly do you actually make this happen? Because attention is at a premium in life. So it is a good question to ask. It's a smart question to ask. The challenge is, what can you do about it? Point number one. The topic again is how to get your name out there in life. Number one, you got to start. If you want to get out there, you got to charge the price that everybody agrees on. Do anybody know what's the price that everybody in the world agrees on right now? Is the exact price that you paid to be listening to me right now. That price is free. Zero. Free 99. If you start charging the price that everybody agrees on free. Okay? There was a time when you used to, if you wanted to get some new music, Future put out an album, I guess it came out yesterday. You had to go to the store. This is before Future was out. But you would go to the store, you would physically go to the store, pay $20 for the CD or the whatever it was you were getting, whatever format you got it in. Then you put it in your CD player, whatever, and you listen to the album. Then we started to have downloads, but at first they were illegal. Then they tried to make it legal, and they started charging 99 cents per download. That didn't really work. Then the music industry sputtered and tried to force people to pay for music. It wasn't working. And finally, we've come upon what we got now, which is the streaming services. You pay $9 a month for access to a streaming service. You get access to every album that came out ever and every new album that comes out. And if you just do the math on that and think about it, there is no way that the artists are making the same amount of money off album sales now that they were back then. It's impossible with the way that the business model was set up. But the reason why I'm bringing that up is because the consumers made it very clear. Once that kid came out with the Napster, way back in the day, some of y'all ain't even old enough to know what I'm talking about, but when he came out with that software that allows you to download music, or actually the software didn't make you download music, it allowed people to share files across the internet, and people decided to use it for music. People were using it for movies, TV shows, but music was the one that was hardest hit. So when he created that software, and then other people copied it, and then more and more people were doing it, and they couldn't arrest everybody, finally it became clear after about 10 years of the music industry and the entertainment industry trying to fight against it, they finally understood, okay, the price that everybody agrees upon is free. We need to figure out a way to make this music pretty much free to everybody. Now again, you're paying $9.99 for Spotify or what is it, Apple Music or Tidal, whatever it is that you got. But again, the price that you're paying for access every month compared to how much music you have access to, the price is virtually damn near zero. Those companies are not making any money off your streaming fees or whatever it is that you want to call it. They're not making any money off this stuff if you really think about it. And why am I explaining this? Because that's the price. Free. Virtually free, even though you're paying $9.99 a month. At the price of free, and we're still on the first point here, at the price of free, here's the thing, you will always have a chance, and you will always have plenty of platforms who will willingly welcome you with open arms. If you are willing to get on Facebook or YouTube or Instagram or Periscope and do a live stream every day, Facebook and Instagram, Periscope, YouTube, they will allow you to do it as much as you want. If you're willing to get on SoundCloud and put out your podcast every day, SoundCloud will allow you to publish your podcast every day. If you're willing to write a blog every day, the WordPress will let you write a blog, and LinkedIn or wherever else you want to blog. You want to post a new picture on Instagram every day? You want to post 30 stories to your IG story every day? They will allow you to do it. Why? Because it's free for you to do it. It's free for your audience to receive it. People accept the price of free. And this is the first thing you need to understand about getting your name out there. If you want to get known, the simplest way to get known is to go to where you can get yourself, you can put your whole, whatever you want to do, you can put it out there completely for free, and whoever wants to consume it, they can come consume it for free. It doesn't cost you anything except your time and effort. It doesn't cost them anything except their time and attention, and that's the exchange. And if you give enough value to the right people, then some of those people are going to stick around, and then they'll come back the next time, and then they'll come back the next time. Then eventually, when you got something for sale, they'll come and buy it. So there are people out there, for example, everybody here listens to music on some level. We all got different tastes, but everybody listens to music. And you might pay your $9 a month for your music streaming service, but you got access to 300 million albums. So how much money is each artist making? Pretty much nothing off of your $9. But there are some of those artists that you like so much that if they have a concert and they come to your town, you'll pay $150 for a ticket. And then you'll go buy a t-shirt for $40, you'll buy a sweatshirt for $50, and you'll buy a hat for $20, and you'll spend $100-some on the artist. So now they can actually make some real money off you because they were willing to put themselves out for virtually for free. Like I said, like Future put his album out. I listened to it twice so far, and he didn't make no money off me listening to his album. Imagine they got to split that $9 amongst everything that I listen to all month. He didn't make no money off that. But the thing is, if somebody who's a big fan of Future, we can finally tour again, when artists can tour again, he comes to your town, you might end up spending $300 that night between the ticket and the merch and whatever else you can buy from Future. I don't know whatever he sells. But this is the point that I'm making. When you are willing to work for free, you give yourself the potential for maximum exposure. The challenge that a lot of people have with getting exposure and getting themselves seen, heard, and known is getting your foot in the door. I'm not even talking about being good. I'm not talking about getting anybody interested. I'm not talking about making money. The challenge that a lot of people have is that they're not willing to put themselves out there for free because they believe, well, I should at least be making some money. I should at least be getting something out of this. I mean, how am I going to just do it for free? How am I ever going to make money? I get these objections from people when I tell them, look, you want to be a writer? All right, start blogging and put out a blog post every other day. So 365 days in a year, somebody do the math on that. That's a lot of blog posts, 100-something blog posts all year. If you write 100-something, you'll at least figure out your voice. You'll figure out what you like to write about. You'll get a whole lot better at writing, and you'll probably develop a little bit of an audience. Even if it ain't a lot, at least a little bit of an audience. But people say, well, Dre, how am I supposed to write a blog every other day for a whole year? How am I ever going to make money from writing? How am I going to get paid? Or I say to somebody, listen, somebody will come to me and say, Dre, I want to work for you. I can do this or that for you. I say, all right, well, first of all, you got to prove to me that you're actually good. And they'll say, well, I got to get paid something. It's less than minimum. You can't pay me less than minimum wage. You got to give me something. I'm like, well, you haven't proven that you're worth anything. So how you going to tell me that I got to pay you something? Who am I competing against? If I don't pay you, who's going to pay you? If you don't have an answer for that question, all of you out there, then you should be willing to work at the price that the public agrees upon, which is free. All right, so when I was trying to get my first professional basketball contract, I didn't have any suitors. I didn't have any teams come to me with contracts. It's not like I was in the middle of a bidding war. So what did I do? I spent my own money. So this was the opposite. This is the less than free. I spent my own money to go to an exposure camp. I paid them so I could show my game for free. I wasn't getting paid to be there. I paid them to be there to show my game with the hopes that if I showed enough of my game and the right people saw it, I could create an opportunity for myself, and that's exactly what happened. But I was willing to invest in myself. And those of you, when you go out and put yourself out there for free, like doing a live stream, writing a blog post, putting out a podcast that you're not charging for or anything like that, you are working for free. That is work. Making a podcast come out every day is work. Live streaming is work. Blogging is work. These things are work. You got to be willing to work for free and put yourself out there. Going to an exposure camp is work, and you're paying for it. You're paying for the opportunity. You got to be willing to do this to get yourself seen. And the reason why, again, is because nobody's going to stop you from working for free. Okay, this is the key. When you're willing to work for free, nobody's going to tell you that you can't do it. Now, if you go to somebody and say, I'm willing to work, but you got to pay me $1, it's going to be a whole lot harder to get that job. Just to get $1 from somebody is a lot harder than doing it for $0. And you're thinking, well, Dre, the difference is only $1. Well, that difference is a lot more than $1 because as soon as you get somebody to pay, they're going to start having certain expectations of you. When you're willing to work for free, the expectation is zero. Nobody's expecting anything because you're doing it for free. When you're working for $1, the expectation goes from here to here just because they spent $1. Why? Because human beings like you have certain emotional attachments to money that changes the entire equation, even if it's only $1. But the principle, I want y'all to understand the overall point that I'm making here. When you're willing to put yourself out there for free, you are exposing yourself to a potential audience of everybody because nobody turns down free. Everybody got what I'm saying right here. You always have a chance, plenty of platforms. And there are so many people out there who want to be compensated for their effort or for their work or for their presence or their time, but they have not proven that they're worth anything. So I want you to ask yourself this question. Next time somebody gives you an opportunity to work for free, to get yourself some exposure or get yourself seen and get some experience, and you think, oh, this is not good enough, it's not worth it, I'm better than this opportunity, somebody should be paying me, I want you to ask yourself this question. Who is going to pay you if you don't do this free work? Who is offering to pay you for you to turn down working for free? If you can't answer that question, then you should be working for free. If there's nobody offering to pay you, then guess what your value is in the marketplace at that particular point? 0. Your value in the marketplace is what the market is willing to bear. So if the market is willing to pay you $5, you're worth $5. If the market is willing to pay you $5,000, you're worth $5,000. The market is not paying you anything. Nobody's offering to pay you. All right, your value is 0. But you can create value. Okay, it doesn't mean you're stuck at 0. You can create value. The first step is you got to get people to know that you exist. If they don't know you exist, how can they value you? Trick question. They can't. Point number 2. Today's topic is how to get your name out there. Point number 2, shout your achievements from the top of the mountaintops. What does that mean? It means you got to make some noise. Once you start working for free and you're putting yourself out there and people start to recognize that you're good, or maybe they don't. Maybe they haven't recognized even though you've been working for free, but you think you're good. You're like, yo, I'm good. Nobody's recognizing that I'm good. Now is your time to take initiative, utilize that resource that we call energy, and start making people pay attention to what you have going on. And there are so many examples of people doing this. I read 50 Cent's book I mentioned a couple weeks ago. Hustle Harder, Hustle Smarter. Came out about 3 weeks ago. Read it. 50's my favorite entertainer, even though he doesn't even make music anymore, and I don't even watch TV, so I have never seen his show. But I'm still a fan of 50's mentality, the way that he thinks and the way that he talks. And 50 said, I remember this from back in the day. Those of you who are old enough might remember when before 50 got shot, he was already rapping and he was coming out, and he had a small little hit called How to Rob. And he made this song that was like this joking type of song where he mentioned damn near every famous rapper that was out, and he made jokes about how he would rob certain rappers. So he mentioned Jay-Z, Big Punisher, Wu-Tang, Puff Daddy, Jermaine Dupri, everybody who was out. He just mentioned how he would rob all these rappers. And then all the rappers, because mind you, back then, this is like 20 years ago. Back then, rap was a little bit more rugged when people took things personally, and rappers would have physical altercations when they seen each other if they didn't like something somebody said in the rap. It wasn't like now where you got people talking about each other on Instagram. It was like if you said something about somebody, you might have to fight them when you see them. So anyway, when 50 made this song, a lot of people took it very seriously, and they started coming at 50 in his raps. And 50 said, listen, the whole point of me making that song was not because I was actually going to rob any rappers. It's not because I was trying to get in a fight with no rapper. It's because I was just trying to get those rappers to respond to me. And when they responded to me, what happened? Now, everybody's like, yo, who is this dude 50 Cent? Because Wu-Tang is talking about him. Big Punisher was talking about him. Jay-Z was talking about him in songs. Now everybody's like, who's 50 Cent? So what 50 did is by getting everyone to pay attention to and respond to him, he elevated his own name. By somehow, some way. He did it in a little bit of an indirect type of way, which is, according to Robert Greene, one of the best ways to get what you want to get is to do it indirectly. Because you can do something overtly, people can notice exactly what you're doing, and they may just resist it just out of sheer perversity. But doing something to draw attention to yourself. There's a guy named Lil Jon. Everybody knows Lil Jon, or if you don't know, you at least remember Lil Jon, because he had a couple hit records. He had several hit records back in the early 2000s, first decade of this century. And Lil Jon did a song with Usher and Ludacris called Yeah. Everybody remembers that song. All right, it don't matter how old you are. Everybody knows that song. So that song had come out, and of course it's a big hit record. Everybody's talking about it. And Lil Jon felt that there was another song that he had made on his album that was just as good as Yeah, but nobody was paying attention to it. The label didn't pay attention to it. Nobody else was pushing it, but he thought it was a great song. That song was called Lovers and Friends. And it was Lil Jon, Usher, and Ludacris. And what happened is I heard this dude named Cosmic Kev. He's a DJ in Philly. He was telling the story. Back when I was living in Philly, I heard him tell the story on the radio. That Lil Jon, since he had relationships with all the DJs, and Lil Jon was kind of a DJ himself. He was an artist. So he knew all the DJs in all the major markets in America. So what he started doing, when nobody was paying attention to the song Lovers and Friends, he started emailing all the DJs around the country and saying, yo, listen to this song, because this song is just as hot. I guarantee you if you play this song, it's going to take off. And he started sending the email himself. So he went over the head of his record label. He didn't go through his A&R people or none of that. He just went to the DJs directly, sent them that song Lovers and Friends, and somebody started playing it. Then somebody else played it, and then the fans started liking it. They started calling in and requesting it, and all of a sudden he had another hit record. So now he had 2 hit records, these same 3 guys, Lil Jon, Usher, Ludacris. The point is this: both him, 50 Cent, and a whole lot of other people, they believed that they had something that people should be paying attention to, but the problem was they were looking around and nobody was paying attention. So what they did was figure out a way to generate that attention. Now, once they generated the attention, I want to make sure I'm being clear, they had something of value to offer. Once people start paying attention to 50 Cent, he had some other songs that were actually good. And then he ended up getting shot. Then he came back, and we know the story of 50 Cent. Everybody knows who 50 Cent is, even though he hasn't made music in 5 years, simply because he was so big when he finally did get his chance that everybody knows who he is. Everybody knows who Lil Jon is. Even if you didn't like his songs, you know who he is, because he made himself so big because he had something of value to offer when he finally got his opportunity. When I wanted to, again, back to the story of me trying to play ball, when I finally got my opportunity, I had something of value to offer. So now I could always say, it was the first thing that I said to y'all, I'm a former 9-year professional athlete. That's something that very few people get to do, is become a professional athlete. And when I got my chance to do it, I was ready to go. So when you go and put yourself out there and you're willing to work for free and do your lives and write your blogs or go to the open mic or whatever it is you're trying to do, and you're willing to work for free and put yourself out there, somebody's going to pay attention. Somebody's going to listen to you for 5 seconds, take a look at one thing that you wrote, listen to one episode that you recorded. They're going to give you a chance and just see what you're about. You better be good during that little bit of opportunity that you get. If it's 5 minutes, if it's 5 days, whatever it is, you better be ready to perform during that one opportunity, and then you can let everybody else know about it. These days, I mean, if you're on the internet, you can, if you're willing to spend money, you can invest money and run advertisements and send people to your website. Even if nobody else is coming to your site, you can spend $100, $1,000, $5 on an advertisement and get more people to look at your stuff, and maybe it'll catch on from there. Maybe you just needed more people to know about you. Maybe it wasn't any good, but you won't find out till you get enough people to pay attention to what you have going on. All right, so you got to do things to put yourself front and center so people can see you, because people will move on if they don't see anything that grabs their attention very quickly. Point number 3, the topic here today is how to get your name out there in life. If you feel like you're not being seen enough, you got to go to where you have not been invited. Yes, you heard me correctly. Go to where you have not been invited. Go to where people are not asking you to come, but you got to show up anyway. This is a metaphor, meaning you can't just stay in the same spot. All right, so if you feel like you're the best athlete in your neighborhood, the best basketball player in your neighborhood, and everybody's telling you how you should be in the NBA, but your neighborhood's only 3,000 people, but you never leave the neighborhood, you just keep playing ball at the park there. All right, how do you think you're ever going to get to where you want to go to? You probably will never get there, simply because you're not doing anything to get yourself seen. You got to go to where the action's at, people. And sometimes where the action is at, you will not be invited, but you got to be willing to show up and crash the party. When basketball players ask me, Dre, I feel like I'm a good player, but the town that I play in, or the country or the city that I play in, is really small, and no scouts come here, and I'm not getting seen, I don't have any scholarship offers. What am I supposed to do? Well, one thing you can do is go find an AAU team and play with them in the summer, and go to the tournaments where the scouts are at. Go to where the scouts are. Don't be mad and say, well, no scouts ever come to my town, so that's why I ain't got no scholarship offers. No, you don't have any scholarship offers because no scouts have ever seen you play. It's not about them coming to your town. It's about them seeing you play. So if you join the AAU team and they go to Vegas every summer and play, and then you're on that team, so you're in Vegas, and then you perform, well, guess what? Now the scouts have seen you play. They still haven't been to your town, but you can still have a scholarship. So it's not the fact that they're not coming to your town that's the problem. It's the fact that they do not know who you are that is the problem. So if you're a musician and you feel like nobody is listening to your music, or nobody's subscribing to your podcast, it's not because they're not listening. It's because you are not putting your music in front of them, so that they ain't got no choice but to listen to your music. Which means you need to get creative, and you need to figure out, how do I draw attention to what I have going on? How do I find out where the people are that I actually want to reach, and then go to where they're at and make sure they see my name, make sure they see my face. Russell Brunson, if you're looking at my story on Instagram yesterday, I just posted how I got that new Traffic Secrets book from Russell Brunson, the creator of ClickFunnels. And I already listened to the audio book like 2 or 3 times before I got the physical book. But one of the things he talks about in that book, the book is called Traffic Secrets. It's all about generating traffic, getting people to see what you have to offer, and hopefully eventually buying what you have to offer, because we're all in this is a business. Business means you got to make some money. And he talks about this. He says, when you have a product or a service that you want to offer, even if you're not selling anything, let's say you got a podcast, or you got a live stream, or you got a YouTube, whatever, you just want people to notice you. You can't sit at home and ask yourself, why is nobody knocking on my door and coming to see me? Why is nobody coming to my Instagram? Why is nobody coming to my podcast? What you got to do is figure out, who are the people that I want to reach? This is the first question. Who do I want to reach? Then ask yourself, where are those people? Because they already have somewhere that they're at. Like I just explained with the basketball analogy, if I'm a basketball player and I'm about to be a senior in high school and I have no scholarship offers, I can't just keep playing in my town and then say, well, nobody came to see me, so I guess my career will be over after high school. No, that's dumb. That makes no sense. I'm not taking any initiative. I'm not taking responsibility for my situation. The better idea would be this. How about I go get on a team that does travel, that does get seen by scouts, so then I know that I'm getting in front of those individuals. I can go to where they didn't ask me to come. The scouts didn't ask me to show up. They didn't come to the Vegas tournament because they were looking for me. But guess what? They're there, so I'm going to be there. You got to figure out where that audience is of people that you want to be seen by. Then you got to go there. So, for example, if you want to be let's say you got a podcast. You want your podcast to get more attention, but nobody knows about it. All right, who are the people that you want to listen to your podcast? What podcasts are they already listening to? Because they probably already listened to somebody. Figure out how you can get on that person's podcast. Then when you're on it, you can say, hey, anybody who liked what I talked about, come subscribe to my podcast. Now you got somebody listening to yours, hopefully, if you're any good. Now, if you're trash when you get your one opportunity, then nothing we can do about that. Now, we can't shine trash. All right, trash is going to be trash no matter where you do it. But you got to make sure that you have something to deliver. But go to where you are not invited. You cannot sit around in this life and wait for opportunity to come to you. You have to go to the opportunity. All right. Because this world we have now, everyone has these devices and we can get on the internet and theoretically connect with anybody at any time. That doesn't mean you can just sit around and wait for the opportunity to come your way. I know it may seem like that with some people, that they just got hot and everybody just start flocking to them. That's usually not the way that it happened. That might be the part that you know about, but what actually happened is stuff that they might not ever even tell. But you got to be willing to take the initiative to get people to notice you. You can't sit around and hope and wait for them to notice you. You got to make them notice you. Point number 4. The topic here today, for those who came in the middle of this, is how to get your name out there if you feel like you are not being recognized to this point in your business, your career, your life. Point number 4, you got to work on your game. As I said already a couple times through these points, when you get people to pay attention, if your name's not out there, but once you start to get your name out there, I don't care if it's 3 people watching you. If you get 2 people subscribed to your channel, all right, that's 2 more than 0. You better be good. Because if you're trash, and when you got an audience of 2 people, how do you think you're going to get an audience of 5 people? If you get 1 scout to come check you out, and you're garbage in that game, how do you think you're going to get 3 or 4 other scouts to come to your next game? That makes no sense. All right, that 1 scout is going to let everybody know, okay, there's nothing to see over there because I went to that game and there wasn't anybody there worth scouting. So don't go there. You blew your opportunity. When you get your chance, you better be ready to go. I talked about this in so many different of these frameworks that I've thrown out here for y'all on this whole work on your game thing. Like my background is as a professional athlete, and I do a lot of performance work. So whether that was being a professional athlete, doing this live stream right here, keynote speaking, guesting on somebody else's podcast, you got to be ready to go. You can't get on there and be trash. You can't get up on a stage at a conference to give a keynote in front of 3,000 people and be trash for the first 20 minutes of your keynote and then say, hey, let me start over. No, your time's up. That's it. Either you're good and you deliver, or you're not good and you don't. And if you don't deliver, that phone's not going to be ringing. You're not going to get another call. You're not going to get another offer to do another one. As an athlete, you get an overseas team offers you to come for a tryout. All right, you don't get 3 weeks to get in shape and figure out what you're doing once you get over there. You got to go over there and show out in the first practice. If you don't show out in the first practice, you don't make it to the second practice. They'll send you home. They're like, yo, we're not interested. We got 300 other players who want this same job. We didn't like you on the first day. We're not waiting any longer. All right, we moving on to the next guy. All right, who else wants this job? All right, he's no good. Get him out. Let's see what this guy can do. All right, he's no good. Get him out. Let's see what this guy can do. All right, he was no good. All right, let's bring 3 of them in at the same time. Let's just pick one of these 3. That's the way they do it. That's the way it works in life, ladies and gentlemen. Y'all seen, what was the show that they used to have? Simon Cowell and Randy Jackson, Paula Abdul, American Idol, right? Y'all remember when they used to show the auditions for American Idol? Y'all remember that show, American Idol, and they would have all those people lined up all around the block to try to get on the show? And what would they have them do? They would show this to you on TV, and they would dramatize a little bit because it's TV, but what would they do? All these people lined up, and they come in like cows at a slaughterhouse, one at a time. Get in front of Randy and Simon and Paula and whoever else was on the show, and then you do your little singing or you do your little rapping or whatever you do. You get about 30 seconds. And if they didn't like you, they'd be like, all right, thank you, next. That was it, your whole opportunity. You stood in line for 8 hours and you got 30 seconds to deliver. And if you don't deliver in that 30 seconds, Go back home, practice again, and next year when they come back to your town, if they come back to your town, you can stand in line for another 8 hours, and maybe you'll be ready to deliver. That's the game, folks. That ain't changing. That is the game. So if nobody told you, now somebody told you. Now you know. You must show up and be ready to perform. Nobody pays for mediocrity, ladies and gentlemen. Nobody pays for mediocrity. If you are not great at what you do, if you don't stand out, if you're not the type of performer that makes people want to come back and find out more about you, then that means you need to work on your game. Your game is not where it needs to be yet. You need to work on your game so that you don't make that mistake again. You blow too many opportunities, you might not get another one. Sometimes in life, you only get one turn. In some areas of life, you will get one turn. So when your name is out there, don't be trash. All right, that's my advice to you. If you're trash, all right, nothing I can do to save you. No motivational speech can save somebody who's trash. Everybody got that? Let's recap. I'm going to recap these points. I'm going to tell you about these 2 books I got in front of me because you can get both of these books for free right now. I'm going to tell you where and how. And I'm going to take every question that anybody has. So anybody who has a question about what I'm talking about here today, please post it in the comments. I love answering questions. If you got a good question that's related to the topic, go ahead and post it in the comment section. I will address your question. My answer will probably be better than you expected if your question is good. Let me recap these points. The topic is how to get your name out there in life. A lot of people are these days especially looking for exposure, attention. People just want to be known. People want to be paid attention to because we got so many options of what we can pay attention to. It's harder to get attention now, even though everybody has a way to broadcast themselves. So paradoxically, that's the way that it's happening. But attention is at a premium. We are in an attention economy. If you can get people's attention, you can get money. If you can't get attention, you cannot make money. Point number 1, charge the price that everybody agrees to. Everybody agrees to the price of free. When you are willing to work for free and put yourself out there for free and deliver value for free, like I'm doing right now, then some of the people that you give value to, maybe not everybody, but some of those people are going to be like, man, this person's pretty good, and they're going to stick to you. They're going to stay paying attention. They'll follow you. Maybe they'll subscribe to something you got for free. Maybe they'll listen to you a few more times, and eventually, if you make a good enough offer, they'll buy something from you. You get something, they get something. They get what they want, and you get the money because you're a business person. Hopefully you're in some form of business. Everybody here is in business, actually. It costs money to be born. It costs money to die. When you are willing to work for free, you can put yourself out there in front of potentially the whole world. Point number 2, shout your achievements from the mountaintops. In other words, when you have something good, make sure it's front and center so people can see it. 50 Cent wasn't getting seen. He made a gimmicky song about robbing rappers. People start paying attention. Lil Jon had a great hit with Ludacris and Usher. Nobody was paying attention to the other song. So he started telling everybody about this other song called Lovers and Friends. He got more attention to that. Now instead of having 1 hit record, he had 2 hit records because he was willing to let everybody know, yo, y'all need to pay attention to this other song that I made. I don't have 1, I got 2. Number 3, go to where you have not been invited. All right, do not wait for the invitation to come to you. Do not wait for the attention to come find you. People have too many options to be looking around for you to give you attention when you ain't already out there. You got to go to where the action is at. Figure out where the action is, like Russell Brunson says. Figure out where the action is and go there. Place yourself in a location where the action is happening. So then you never have the excuse of nobody comes to see me. Of course they don't come to see you. Who are you? They don't know who you are. Go to where they are, and then you don't have that excuse anymore. Point number 4, work on your game. Nobody wants to hear or listen to or read something that is average. Nobody will ever spend money on a mediocre offering. If you want people to spend money on you, you want people to spend their attention and their time on you, you got to be better than mediocre. Work on your game so that you have something of value to offer the world. If you have nothing of value to offer, why would you expect to get value back? Makes no sense. That equation does not equate. Now, I'm going to tell you about these 2 books I got in front of me. I'm going to tell you how you can get either one of these books for free right now. This book right here is called The Mirror of Motivation. It's a self-guide to self-discipline. So all this mental game, mindset stuff that I talk about, the stuff that I learned as a pro athlete and that I teach entrepreneurs, business professionals, and athletes these days, this is your starting point. All right, this is your entry level point for my whole mentality. It's called The Mirror of Motivation. This book is made for the person out there who knows that you are a certain type of individual, but for whatever reason, you have not been expressing that person, you have not been living as that person, you feel like you have kind of lost touch with yourself, and you want to get back in touch with who you really are, your true instincts, so you can start doing what you truly want to do and live how you really want to live. Get this book, and I guarantee you, this will make you different from 99% of the people out there on this planet who have lost touch with their instincts, lost touch with their true selves, don't have that real passion, don't really have a purpose. They've lost their purpose. There is a purpose, but they lost it. They don't know where it is. You want to be different from them? Go to mirrorofmotivation.com. I guarantee you, we will solve that problem. And whatever amount of time it takes you to read a 150-page book, that problem will be solved. Mirrorofmotivation.com. The book is free. You take care of the shipping. We ship this book worldwide. This book right here is called The Overseas Basketball Blueprint. Now, this book is, the title alone tells you what this book is about. This book is specifically for the basketball player who wants to play professional basketball internationally and get paid as a professional basketball player. Everybody in the world cannot do this. There are only about 5,000 professional basketball playing jobs for American-born players in the entire globe. Now, that sounds like a lot of people. It's not a lot of people. That's counting the NBA, G League, and overseas. Only 5,000 jobs. That's not a lot of jobs. There are about 500,000 players who think they can play. Only about 5,000 of them actually get a job. So you do the math on that. When they tell you it's 1 in a million to play pro, it is literally 1 in a million. So I can say 5 million people want to play. Overseas Basketball Blueprint is the book that I wrote to explain to you how even if you came from a small school, small background, have no prospects, no leads, no help, no nothing, you can still make a professional basketball career. That's exactly what I did. I came from a D3 school where I walked on, still made a pro career out of it, and I know how to explain what I did. Not only did I do it, but I can explain to you how you can do the same things, and I give you the whole framework for how to make it happen. So there's a lot of guys who play ball overseas. None of them can explain the game the way that I can explain the game. That's why I've written 26 books, because I know what the hell I'm doing. Go to balloverseas.com. The book is free. You take care of the shipping. This is a 237-page book. You see the spine? 237-page book. Ain't no pictures in this book. Giving you the game of how to play professional basketball overseas. balloverseas.com. Now, let me see what I got here in the comment section. Anybody got a question, go ahead and post it. Don't be shy. Closed mouths do not get fed. So if you got a question, go ahead and post it, and I will address it here today. Let's see. Hey, he got game. What's going on? Depo Jumo. What's going on? Coach Kev, what's going on? Said you read the 50th Law from my recommendation. That's what's up. It's a great book. It's one of my favorites. I am Manaroy. It was good. Christian Cotter, 30. What's going on? Brandon Joseph says, do you think hiring a promoter or manager is vital to get others to hear your music? I think that can definitely help. I mean, Jay-Z got Dame Dash as his promoter / manager. Dame Dash was Jay-Z's manager, and he helped Jay-Z get seen. So, yes, I mean, Sean Puff Daddy Combs was Notorious B.I.G.'s manager, and he helped him get seen. He was Mary J. Blige's manager pretty much, helped her get seen. So there are plenty of people out there who help somebody get their name out there and get seen. So yes, is it vital? I think it can help a lot. There are some artists who do it on their own, and there are some artists who get a manager to do it for them. So it really depends on your skill set, honestly, is the answer to that question. But if you don't have a manager, you got to be the manager, if you understand what I'm saying. So if you don't have a manager working for you, if somebody's a musician out there and you don't have a manager working for you to get yourself seen, then that means you're the manager. You got to be the person working to get yourself seen. And if you're not for example, in business and entrepreneurship, they always say this. They say, if you're an entrepreneur and you don't have an assistant, then you are an assistant. If you don't have one, then you are one. Because those things that an assistant does, somebody has to do those things. Either you're doing it or you got an assistant that's doing it. So, and if you're a basketball player or any kind of professional athlete and you don't have an agent, then you are the agent. You're your own agent. So there are times in my career that I had an agent, and there are times when I was my own agent. But either way, there has to be an agent, because that's the only way you want to get a job is to have an agent. If you want to be an artist and you want to get your music heard, all right, you need a manager. Either you're the manager or you hire a manager, but it's one or the other. You're a business person, and you either are an assistant or you hire an assistant. But that job must be done one way or another. So that should answer your question, Brandon Joseph. So you're going to have an album out this year. Yeah, well, you should do the work to have an audience before you drop that album, way ahead of time. So whenever that album's coming out, you should start building the audience like way before that album comes out, before you even announce it. Make sure you start building the audience. If you're not doing it, then there's better be somebody doing that job full time. Coach Kev said he spoke directly to me today. No questions for me, just a thank you. That's what's up. Glad I was able to help. I Am Manor says, does this apply to getting girls? You have to go to the malls, nightclubs, or bars, or beaches to be seen. Kind of. What I'm talking really about is in the business world. So let's just look at this framework that I laid out here today. The question is, does this apply to getting girls? Well, the thing about getting girls is having your name out there, the whole principle that I'm talking about is to get an audience of people to come see you. Now, when it comes to girls, you're only one person, so you can only serve one girl at a time usually, unless you trying to just be out there like that, and unless you like who's the guy, Lou Williams, who had 2 girlfriends and he only had 2. So if I'm a business person, I'm not trying to have 2 customers. I'm trying to have 2 million customers. So it's a little bit different type of setup when it comes to females. But if you're trying to meet women, you just need to be where the women are at. So where are the women at? There's women on Instagram. There's women on Tinder. There's women on Bumble. I don't even know all the apps out there. I'm out of the game, so I don't know what the apps are, but there's plenty of apps. And then if you're talking about in person, there's women at schools, women at the malls, women at, like you said, the bars, the clubs. But there's a lot of different places. You don't have to go to somewhere that you don't really want to be. Go to the places that you like going, because a woman if you're not the type of person, for example, who goes to nightclubs and you meet a girl at a nightclub, well, what's the chances that that relationship is going to go anywhere? Because her lifestyle is to go to the nightclub and you're not even into that. So if you like to go to Whole Foods, go to Whole Foods. All right, meet a girl in Whole Foods. So meet somebody doing the things that you normally do. If you go to the gym every day, all right, meet a girl in the gym. All right, don't go to the gym at 5 o'clock every morning and then you try to meet a girl at the club at 2 a.m. That makes no sense. Y'all ain't got the same lifestyle. So find somebody who's already doing what you're doing. To answer your question. Question is, Money May said 2014 you had a song like I Feel Like Dre Baldwin. No, that wasn't my song. Somebody made that song. That wasn't me on the song. He made that song for me. Damn, he made that song. That was before 2014. That was like 2009 he made that song. But it's still out there, wherever it's at. But that was not me. I've never made a song in my life. Theo Dryden said, I never seen you run paid advertising. Is all your stuff organic traffic? The majority of my stuff is organic traffic, but I have run paid advertisements. How would you see it though? He said, you said you've never seen it. How would you even know? The good thing about advertising these days, a lot of ads, you don't even know that they're ads. But I've done, for many years, I didn't do any type of, I did mostly organic, but the world is getting more crowded now. And if you know what you're doing in the marketing world these days, you can run ads and pay to get your stuff seen, but it doesn't actually cost you any money. There's a whole system to doing that if you know what you're doing. But you got to know how to create offers, you got to know how to sell, you got to know how to convert, all of those things. But it takes, you have to know what you're doing. And I know what I'm doing. So if you never seen me run paid ads, good. Because I have run paid ads, but if you didn't notice them, that was the point. You wasn't supposed to notice. So I'm going to tell you about these books one more time. The Mirror of Motivation, Self-Guide to Self-Discipline. Get this book for free so you can light that fire within you, so you can separate yourself, which means you'll separate yourself from the old you. You can throw that old you away and you can start being a new you. And the amount of time it takes you to read this book, listen, within the first 17 minutes of reading this book, a new you will begin to emerge. Go to mirrorofmotivation.com. The book is free. You take care of the shipping. balloverseas.com to get the overseas basketball blueprint if you want to play professional basketball overseas. I'm the only pro athlete who has written a guidebook for how to play ball overseas. It might be 1 or 2 others who tried to write a book like this, but they're trash at writing and they're trash at explaining the game, so the book is trash to go along with them being trash. I'm not trash. That's why I wrote a 237-page book on how to play ball overseas. Go to balloverseas.com. There are plenty of people who read this book and have already told me how great it's been for their careers. I got players who play overseas right now at the highest leagues who have read this book before they started their careers. They'll tell you themselves, this book is legitimate. The Overseas Basketball Blueprint, balloverseas.com. You got both of those books, or you need another book to read, get this one's called Work on Your Game. Use the Pro Athlete Mindset to Dominate Your Game in Business, Sports, and Life. This book is not free. It's $25 for the book, but it is a hardcover book. I'm going to give you a couple $100 in bonuses with the book immediately if you get this book at workonyourgamebook.com. Workonyourgamebook.com. It's $25 for the book, hardcover, and you're getting a whole bunch of bonuses, about $1,000 worth of bonuses that you get with the book. Workonyourgamebook.com. And for those who don't know, I do these lives every single day, 5:15 p.m. Eastern. If you missed the live, you can watch the replay on IG. Of course, you got 24 hours on Facebook. It'll be on there forever. So my Facebook page, for those who don't know, is Facebook.com/workonyourgame, or just type my name in. I'm easy to find. Everybody have a great Saturday. And oh yeah, we about to get back out here, y'all. They about to stop this lockdown stuff. Y'all know see the people protesting and stuff. They tired of being locked down. So we about to get back out here. Hope everybody's game's been tight. Let's do what we got to do. Let's get through this weekend. I think Monday is starting to open stuff back up, at least where I'm at in Florida. Hopefully where you're at. Just be ready when they open it up for you. Tomorrow I'm doing a live again, 5:15. Work on your game. We out. Dre all day.